First of all, apologies for the slight tweak to how I normally do things. Uh, I'm still sort of learning OBS, and I'm trying to figure out how to let it keep the overlay for my voice and let me view websites at the same time. Because it doesn't seem to like doing both. So this is kind of a temporary thing until I figure out what we're doing. But I mean, this is going to be a short one anyway, because we're going to go through the website for Pokemon Winds and Waves, and we're just going to talk about what's been revealed, what I'm excited for, and just any thoughts I might have in general. So starting with the top of the website, obviously we have few little clips playing from the trailer. I will say even now that water just looks gorgeous. I love the lighting effects, so on and so forth. Go back and watch the previous video, and we'll turn reduce motion off because that makes it a little easier on my computer. A weird day. I'm having a weird day. Just whilst we're on the subject of weird day, let's just get rid of that there. That's good. Yeah, so this is a web app if you haven't worked it out yet, but I'm not going to show you how to get to it because it's mine. It's my project. Okay, moving down. A new stage is set for the Pokemon series. The Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves games, all new entries in the Pokemon video game series, will be released exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2 in a simultaneous worldwide release in 2027. And then we have the actual trailer itself, which I'm not going to go through because I just did that in the previous video. Go back and watch it. Really nice video. I'm really happy with it. These new titles feature an open world to explore with beautiful windswept islands and a vast ocean with glittering waves that ebb and flow. The Pokemon that live in harmony with this region's lush environment have developed their own unique ecosystems. By visiting these islands, you're sure to open the door to a brand new adventure that could only be found here. During this adventure, you'll be able to team up with all kinds of Pokemon to overcome both the difficult road ahead and even the forces of nature that block your path at times. I'm pretty sure forces of nature refers to boss Pokemon. Rumor is we're going to get Titan Pokemon again, so if that's the case, this almost certainly means that. But that's for the Terra League and the Rumors video, so stay tuned for those, because I think those will be the more exciting videos moving forward. Again, we get some screenshots. We get this lovely one of Gloom and Tropius. Again, I love the detail on Tropius' leaf. The fact that you can see the shadows from the trees above, that's really nice. Then we got that Ledian and Ledibur shot I gushed over a while back. The two Duskull in front of a mysterious building, which I'm assuming is just a shop. This really understated render of a Wingull flying over the most gorgeous water I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Underwater route, this is almost certainly underwater exploration. Dive is back, babies. Time Pole, and can I just, before we go ahead, I just want to point out, it wasn't Gen 5, it was Gen 3 that introduced Dive. Gen 5 brought it back for like one dungeon or something, and then we haven't had the ability to explore underwater since. This is a very nice return to the concept. I'm really looking forward to this. Kind of figured they'd do it in Alola, of all places, since that's a tropical paradise and everything, but whatever. We'll take what we can get. We take what we can get around here. Time Pole and Carnivine. I've always thought it a bit weird that Carnivine floats. Like, I know it has the levitate ability. I know that's its selling point. It's the grass type with levitate. But it just looks weird. Like, I've always felt it should be somewhere in a tree, like dangling down, waiting to catch its prey, or even just curled up, waiting with its mouth open or something. The fact that it moves around as an active hunter is somehow more terrifying. What else we got? Time Pole. Big fan of Gen 5 Pokemon, so glad to see those are being represented. Still think I saw an Arbok back there somewhere, but again, I could be mistaken. We've not seen Arbok or Ekans in the trailers, so it could be anything. Nice clearer look at the Wailord and Wailmer from that other portion of the trailer that I gushed over. And I like we get the actual spout that has the nice particle effect on the end. That's really good. The texturing, again, on the rocks and the trees is gorgeous. I love the way the water looks. This presumably... I don't think you can dive into this water because it just seems a bit weird to me that you would be able to do so, but we'll see. I'm assuming there is a limit to what water you can dive into and what you can't. And then this is, the sunset screenshot. Another look at the cave with the glowing slugma. Again, absolutely really love the glowing effects they're adding. Crabby and sandy gas on a beach somewhere. Excuse me. And then we have an overview of what I assume is some kind of hotel or getaway destination. This is clearly meant to be some kind of paradise for humans to enjoy nature, presumably along with their Pokemon friends, but we'll see. I do like that the top is sort of this. I think that's meant to be like a windmill. Like, I'm assuming that's going to end up rotating in the final game, and it'll just be the sort of nice constant effect that you can see. Then we've got to look at Pikachu, because it is Pokemon. What is Pokemon without Pikachu? It's a franchise without a mascot. I do like the slight furry texture to it as well, making it feel like a real mouse. I know they had it in Sun and Shield, but not Sun and Shield. I know they had it in Scarlet and Violet as well. But there's just something about the way it's textured in this particular game that just makes it look a little nicer, a little fuzzier. I can imagine how it would feel to pet one of these things. It's super nice. And then we get a first look at the main characters. When playing Pokemon Wins, when playing Pokemon Waves, can we enlarge these screenshots? We cannot, I assume, because I've got the screen shrunk down a little bit. But yeah, I love the designs of both the male and the female characters. It looks like the wind trainers get a different hat to the male trainers because their outfits are otherwise pretty much the same, bar a few color tweaks. I do like as well that they seem to have some sort of diving suit underneath their traveling gear, which I assume you can't take off. Which makes sense because you'll be going underwater. You need a suit to enable to go underwater. That makes complete sense. The only thing missing is the helmet, and I assume we get a helmet at some point during the adventure, or maybe there's one inside those backpacks, and it's just automatically part of your gear or something. Either way, I can't wait to see how they play. Again, I think the girl does look a little bit cuter in this one. I think I prefer her Waves look. But I think the body design, this might be one of the strongest designs since like Gen 2 or 3. I don't think I've particularly cared for any of the male designs in a Pokemon game previously. Like Red and Blue, you kind of forced. Gold, Silver, you kind of forced to. Crystal, introduced Crystal, so that was a novelty at the time. Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, so on and so forth. Like I usually play as the girl just for the novelty of it, but now it's like, actually no, the female character usually looks a lot better than the male. But I'm also a guy, so maybe that's why. You, the player, will become the main character in this adventure when you dive into the world of Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. The outfit your character dons will differ between versions. Just what kind of story could be awaiting you? I'm assuming it involves a lot of wind. I'm assuming there's a lot of waves involved. And then we have a nice shot of the male character. Nice shot of the female character. I've got to say, these models look absolutely amazing. Like, for a Pokemon game, like, I don't think the human models have ever really been a problem, but in this game especially, they look really nice. And I like as well with Tangela, it is very clearly made up of individual finds in that particular shot. I don't know if it's coming through clearly or not, but it's a really nice look. It really does look like it's made of like these vines that are just all over its body. I wonder if Tangela's gonna get like a unique evolution. Like, I wonder if with the sun beating down all year round, I wonder if Tangrowth is going to get like, a grass rock or a grass ground evolution. Maybe grass fairy. Maybe. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if it evolved into some kind of giant ramen Pokemon, just because every single region has something Japanese in it, because this is a Japanese video game series, so every game has to have at least one Pokemon, at least one area that is tied to Japan, and I don't think this is going to be any different. We just haven't seen it yet. Another shot of the windmill. I think the windmill is really nicely animated in the trailer as well. And then you're in the rocky cavern. That Slugma has seen some things. And then just an overview shot of the titular waves, and I assume the titular winds, even though you can't really see them. I wonder if wind and waves just ties into the theme of this game. Like, waves can refer to like energy waves and stuff like that, so it'd be interesting to see how it works, because like air currents and water currents are a thing in real life. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it turned out that these were like the basis. The wind and waves were like the basis for all life in Pokemon or something ridiculous. But it'll be fun to find out. Introducing the first partner Pokemon. The 3 Pokemon you can partner up with are Brout, the Bean Chick Pokemon, Pombon, the Puppy Pokemon, and Gekwa, the Water Gecko Pokemon. Choose one to be your partner and set out on a new adventure together. So again, these all look really cute. I like all the designs, even Brout. I think Brout's understated. I think Brout is going to be in... I think people are going to come out when this game comes out and they're just going to be like, yeah, Brout's the best starter. Brout is just the best starter. But yeah, you've got Pombon, who's the fan favorite, and then Gekwa. I like that we have shots of them in and around, the resort, and I'm pretty sure I was right. This is a resort area. Like, I wonder how much of it is explorable, though. That's my question. And then we get these little profiles for the starter Pokemon. Brow. This Pokemon runs about energetically while photosynthesizing using the leaves on its brow. It's lively, but it can be a bit clumsy. And it's that's 1 foot tall, I want to say. I don't really do American units, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, that's Brown. I actually think it looks pretty cute. I think this is going to become a fan favorite more than Pombon when the game finally comes out. I think it's just going to be, this guy is going to be like the best of the starters. I just have this weird feeling about it. I've nothing to base that feeling on. I just think that's what's going to happen. I do like the little notes on. I do like the fact that its feet are digigrade or digitigrade, or how you say it, because there are two little toes at the front and then one at the back. I think that's a very good thing, because it would have been very easy for them to just make little nub legs or something. Like, I can see them doing that. Pombon, the area below its throat glows faintly from the heat-generating organ within its lungs. This Pokemon is guileless and friendly, and it's the puppy Pokemon fire type with the ability Blizz, like all 5 starters. I think this actually, this is the tallest of the 3 stars, so automatically that's the largest one of the group, and I think it's the heaviest as well. I think we all have the same thought at the moment, which is, don't you dare become a bipedal monster again. Every single fire type up until what was it called? The fire crocodile from Scarlet and Violet, whatever its name was. I forget its name off the top of my head. There's like 1,000 Pokemon. I can't remember all names all the time. But yeah, that guy, he's a quadruped, even though he's sometimes raised onto his legs. He's pretty much always on his front legs. He's always walking on all fours. Pombon, I think we all agree, we do not want this thing to turn into a bipedal dog. I'm no furry. Absolutely not a furry, so I have no interest in that design. And if you don't understand what that means, then lucky you. You don't spend too much time on the internet. Gekwa, this Pokemon launches springy balls of water from its tail. Gekwa is very intelligent and maneuvers shrewdly while putting on airs. And against the water gecko Pokemon, it has the Torrent ability, which all water starters have. I think Gekwa is also going to become a fan favorite. In fact, depending on what its final evolution looks like, I think this is going to be the starter to get. I don't want another... How do I phrase this? I don't want another skinny water type, if that makes sense. Because if you look at the last 3 or so generations, we had Greninja back in Gen 6. Pre-Marina Card broke them all a little bit, but we had Greninja, which was the spindly frog Pokemon. We had... what is that Pokemon's name now? the Sword and Shield starter, Intellion. That's it, Intellion. Another spindly, slightly too human-looking water type, and then in Scarlet and Violet we got Quaquaval, which I don't mind it. It's not the worst design I've ever seen, but I'm always a little put off when a Pokemon is a little too close to human in its design and when it acts human. Like, that's one reason I'm not a fan of Meowscarada, is just because it looks a little too close to just someone in a costume. And there's plenty of Pokemon that look like that Incineroar could very easily pass for a human wrestler with tiger features in another game. In fact, I would argue Smash Bros. Is the strongest indicator of that. Plus, there's that moment in Pokemon I Choose You where it sort of runs on its knuckles on all fours because they're like, oh yeah, it's a tiger, so it has to run on all fours at some point. And it's like, yeah, no. It's not how that works. But yeah, not the biggest fan of the bipeds. I'm with most people in that boat. I think this is going to become a psychic type just because it's got that, because it mentions how intelligent it is, and psychic is usually referred to as the intelligent type. Like Alakazam and Metagross have, really high IQ, and they're both psychic type. So I wouldn't be shocked if this became psychic in its final form. So that's that, and then Special Pikachu make their debuts. The latest video featured the appearance of some Pikachu with a brand new look. Just how could these Pikachu be involved in your adventure? Look forward to future announcements. And that's Mr. Windychew and Miss Wavychew, which I think we all know that means they have something to do with the new legendaries. I said in the last video I wasn't convinced of that, but the fact that they're just highlighting these as important to your adventure, like some Pikachu with a brand new look. I mean, this is not brand new. They're a little tan, I'll give you that, but I'm not convinced this is a new look. I wonder, and this is just a thought, I wonder if the clothing they wear is meant to reference the legendaries of the game. Like, Windychew has that sort of petal design, which I think is meant to be a sort of a flower that also resembles a windmill sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Like, you can picture them turning, rotating, if you squint your eyes a little bit. And then you've got Wavychew, whose outfit incorporates the plants, that some of which we've seen around in some of the videos. Like, I wonder if the legendaries are going to be like flying psychic and water psychic. I can see that being the case, because Game Freak seem to have this in their head that because psychic was the most powerful type in Gen 1, they kind of want to keep that as the strongest type for some reason, even though psychic has arguably had the most nerfs over the years, alongside maybe dragon. But I think psychic was hit worse because I don't think any type has been nerfed as badly as psychic, because it has two types now that resist or is immune to it. Why didn't they just make Ghost resist psychic? I've never understood that. But anyway, getting off topic. These special Pikachu, they're not forms. I don't think we'll be able to catch them. They're characters. That doesn't seem like it would be the case. Maybe we do, and that's how we catch the legendaries. We catch these guys, and then we go off and we find an island that they call home, and then we speak with the legendaries, or we see the legendaries, and we battle them, and so on and so forth. I can see that being the case, but it'll be interesting to see just how they're involved in the story. I really, really hope that... I wonder if they can talk. That's kind of my thing, because Pokemon don't usually talk, and the ones that do, it tends to be that they're special. And, these are two very clearly special Pikachu with some ties to some kind of power. And also sunburns. So it's like, I'm very curious as to whether these two will talk. Maybe not, maybe they won't, but that would be my first guess as to how they'd be connected to the legendary, because I can just see them telling you like, oh, by the way, you're free to go wherever you want, but don't approach this one particular location, or else you'll get swept up in like a tornado or a whirlpool or something, and you won't be able to escape. You know, that sort of thing. And anyway, we do have an example of a talking Pikachu. Detective Pikachu was a talking Pikachu. Admittedly, that was for a special reason. No spoilers, of course. If you haven't watched that film, go watch it. It's a good film. But talking Pokemon are not an unusual concept. They've done it before. It's just very few and far between. Like, Arceus talks at one point. Darkrai in Legends ZA talks during the DLC. Who else talks? Obviously, Meowth is the famous example. Plenty of Pokemon in the anime talk when there's no other humans to talk for them. Like Lapras in that one Santa Claus episode, and the Ghastly that was the antagonist of that early Kanto episode. Like, I gotta say, that first season was wild when you think about it. There were no rules back then. There were no regulations. They just did what they did. It was crazy. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got in me for this. I'm still excited for the games, and I like what info we've had so far. I really hope we get something before the end of the year, although I fully expect that we'll probably end up having to wait until probably Pokemon Day 2027 before we get any more information. I'm hoping if that's the case, we at least get a release date, because that'll give us a hint as to when we can start looking forward to, because they've got to do the whole cycle, haven't they? The marketing cycle of, there's 6 weeks to go to Winds and Waves. Here's another Pokemon for you to catch, and oh, there's going to be Winds and Waves in a couple of months. Here's another character you're going to meet on your journey, and it'll just, that sort of thing. They love doing that sort of crap. So as soon as we get the release date announcement, that's going to be their next thing. That's going to be, a few months prior, we'll start getting just drops of just random ass Pokemon information. Do you remember when that Japanese magazine used to be our source for Pokemon information, because they would always release the information in Japanese, and then it would, because the games would release over there and then release in English a year or so later, they would always get that information first, and then we'd have to go with the names and stuff in the magazine, and then we'd have to translate it all, and then that was basically the Pokemon's name, and then the games would come out over here. We finally get the English names. God, the internet and Nintendo in general have really evolved over the years. I know it seems like they haven't, but they really have. And anyway, yeah, so that's all I've got in me for this. So I'm gonna end this here. I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry again for the slight tweak to the format, but if you think the waveform thing is a cool concept, let me know in the comments. And yeah, because I'm gonna use this at least until the end of this video project, so you can look forward to seeing it next time as well. But otherwise, yeah. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. It should be coming out soon. Bye for now.